Welcome to the London Property Podcast, your go-to source for navigating the complex and ever-changing London real estate market. Our digital marketplace provides informative and educational content from industry leaders through podcasts and videos. We cover various aspects of the real estate experience, including buying and selling, finance, law, tax, construction, design, and more. Join us as we delve into the latest trends and developments in the market and gain valuable insights from our panel of experts.
Hello and welcome to London Property, the home of Super Prime. I'm your host Farnaz Fazaipour, and today we're welcoming Stephanie Russo of Chesterton's to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So Stephanie, your career, I'm going to let you tell us more about your career, but your career has been focused mostly on rentals.
Correct, yes.
So tell us first of all a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into what you think is going on in the market at the moment.
So I started in properties in Australia, actually, on a holiday letting concept and helping and doing a little bit of property management and rentals. Then moved back to Paris for a year. And in Paris, the model is very much doing sales and lettings at the same time. Stayed there only for 9 months and arrived in London 6-7 years ago now, and always been in rentals, starting as negotiator, then valuer, and then manager for the past 2-3 years in Kensington.
And it's a fast-paced industry, really, the rental side especially, because, you know, people make decisions a lot faster and they move a lot faster.
Correct.
So what would you say have been the sort of general characteristics of the market recently? Have you noticed changes in how the rental market is evolving? Do you think it's changed a lot in the past quarter, or...?
I think, and I discussed this morning actually with a client of mine, how the impact of, you know, the worldwide events of wars or that have an impact geopolitically or financially, whether it's the mortgage rates that are extremely high now, obviously going down slowly, have an impact on even tenants, because in the area of Kensington, we deal with a certain caliber of tenants who work mainly in financial services. So it does affect their decisions, even for long term, whether to stay in London or not, and for how long they would choose the place for, and also just to simply make a decision. I have seen that over the past 2 months, how much longer it takes actually for people to make a decision. They have to see way more properties, and they look online and they trust themselves more than agent, generally speaking. That's what I think.
So there was apparently, and I've only heard this in the marketplace, but apparently there was a white paper that said 82% of landlords are not using letting agents anymore. Did you hear this?
I didn't know.
So thankfully, I think it hasn't reached London yet. But are you seeing any kind of movement towards, I mean, if you're saying that they trust their own judgment more than they do the agents, are you noticing any kind of movement where landlords are becoming a bit more self-reliant rather than always using agents for lettings, rent collection, management? What have you noticed?
Yeah, I have noticed this year that a few of my clients, they would, you know, they made the comment saying, I would like to save some money, so I'm going to try to rent it in myself. But the reality is that, do they know really what they have to do? Do they know the process and the legal courses that they have to follow and the contract that need to be updated? And an agent such as Chesterton's obviously provide that service to a very high standard. And you don't have that with other, smaller online services that you can use yourself.
So there seems to be, you know, I always find that when people hit financial hardship or cash flow problems, they always look to take it out on the agent. You know, it's like they always go after the fees of the agent when they're selling something, they're not getting the price they want. They go after that 1% that they're going to negotiate. Yeah. And it's sort of the same thing in rentals at the moment, right? Everyone's being squashed, what they can deduct from their interest payment, but what they can't deduct from their income before paying tax. So they're looking to see where they're saving, but also there is a lot of regulation in rentals, right? So it's becoming a lot more complex. Have you had any feeling that lots of buy-to-let investors are considering leaving the market?
Yes, indeed. but they are not. It depends on their personal or their financial situation, depending when did they buy the property, what price did they bought the property, do they have a mortgage, or so do they need the cash now, or can they wait? So you have a lot of clients who have considered, but they did not necessarily exit. They just wait and they try the market just to test it. My thoughts are the next 6 months are going to be quite crucial, and we're going to see maybe a little bit more movement with more, stability in, the world, generally speaking, and also,
So the investors are really leaving reluctantly rather than leaving in a rush. So they're trying to stay if they can. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, and also with this discussion about Section 21 that might be removed. So to explain it, the landlord being able to serve notice on their tenants, which might be removed. But the reality, I come from France, and this has always been the case, and it doesn't mean that the tenancy doesn't go well. It doesn't mean that people are leaving in bad terms or there's more conflict. No, it's just, adapting to what it's going to be.
More security. People need more security because rental is actually becoming their home.
Correct, yeah.
So if you were to say that there is a pattern that you're noticing, what would you say that pattern is in the rental market at the moment? Or is there anything visible, like, people being more transient or less transient? What are you noticing?
The main point is everyone is really careful what they say, what they do, and before moving forward. And, always asking so many questions, whether it's on the landlord or the tenant side, they're scared to make a bad decision. They're scared to going into a bad tenancy that is not going to be favorable to them on whatever side they're on.
And have you noticed any sort of Brexit leftovers in the rental market? Has Brexit had any kind of effect that you're now seeing, yeah, this is definitely because of Brexit?
We felt it obviously during COVID. Mm-hmm. The years, 2020, 2021 were quite tough because a lot of, for instance, French people decided to leave and moving back to France, and they said, this is enough, we don't want to be here anymore. But the reality is that, and I work very closely with our corporate department, and last year we've done the most corporate tenancies, meaning that a lot of relocation agents will contact them and come through us, and companies such as L'Oreal or BP or Facebook or the film industries as well, and coming back to the UK. So I don't feel that Brexit has affected more than that at this stage.
Okay, yeah, good to hear. And the other question I wanted to ask you is, the sort of super prime and the really expensive end of the market is something that's kind of developed more over the last decade than it wasn't really a thing to rent things for 20,000, 30,000 pounds a week. But do you find that this is a sector that's become a lot more established? And are you seeing a movement from people actually deciding not to buy and to just rent as a lifestyle for the big houses?
Yes, correct. Because probably, and I don't go into too much details with the tenants because they can be quite private about their finance, but you have some tax exemption and some positivity in renting rather than buying, keeping their cash flow to just do some more financial movement. So rather than tying themselves up with buying a property, they prefer to rent, and adding 6 months break clause, 1 year break clause, where they are actually able to exit the tenancy if they want to.
So that flexibility is something that's becoming more common, that people want to actually have the option to break.
Yeah, correct. A lot of people are asking. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that you think the next 6 months would be quite crucial in what's going to happen in the rental market. But if you did have a crystal ball, what would you say 2024 is going to bring?
I don't necessarily like to comment because I don't know what the future is going to be. A big I'm a big believer in making your own market. You just have to adapt. I think that good agents and smart ones just have to adapt with being trustworthy with, their clients, with their tenants, and making sure that everyone is happy at the end of the day. This is why we are paid as well, to make sure that everything goes as smooth as possible. Yeah.
I always think that markets find a way, personally, and I also think that they're quarterly cycles. I don't know whether that's just me, but I feel like in London, from one quarter to the next quarter, it could be a completely different market.
Correct. Yeah,
right?
Totally. I've seen that a lot, especially last year, and I thought because that was 2022 was the first year where there was totally the end of COVID, and we had a lot of corporate searches. But every 6 weeks, I would see really a difference in terms of how people will react to the market, how they would look for a property, or if there would be an overflow of students looking, or professionals, or family, and it would vary all throughout the year.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if everybody listened to their agents and actually said, you know what, promise you, things change really quickly. You may think you know better than us, but sometimes it's good to listen.
I agree.
Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to welcoming you back to the show, and thanks for your insights.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to our latest episode of the London Property Podcast. Head over to our website where you can browse our exclusive network of top experts driving the market. As a member, you'll have direct access to our experts and their networks. Our award-winning content will help you choose the right professionals for your needs and make informed decisions about your investments. Personal recommendations are a powerful tool in connecting with trusted professionals. Let us introduce you to the right people to help you achieve your real estate goals. Contact us now to learn more about becoming a member and gaining access to these valuable resources, or joining our directory of experts.